feels like he's in a pretty good position, right? Going up against not only just in general the Vigar, he's going up against Recaps Vigar, which
True.
at the moment hasn't impressed us. To say this, we haven't been as impressed by what we've seen him do, and also just looking at some of these ultis that he's going to be able to grab, right? The Glacial Fissure from Secret is going to be huge. Hell, the Keeper's Verdict that he can take away from Hachimecha could be absolutely huge in securing these dragons, as we clearly have seen that Blank seems to struggle a little bit when it comes to winning the Smite fight. So it feels like, honestly, the blind pick was totally worth. Like, they got a whole lot for it.
Yeah. And maybe, you know, their prep kind of told them that, hey, we're going to be safe into Recap picking this. And maybe Maswan had that same idea, which is why he thought, you know, the size would be such high priority. We'll have to see, because draft is only less than half the game here. A lot of it does come down to execution. And speaking of execution, Rhino already taking a crap ton of damage down here.
Yeah, so already looking to put his foot down in this bot lane here. Has that Lethal Temple fully stacked up, so has that range, especially with the Calibrum out, doing so much damage, making sure that Rhina, once he hits that level 2, or just in general, cannot afford to engage, cannot afford to send out those dredge lines without risking just instantly being taken down. And they're doing a great job of shutting that down.
Yeah, Rhino, though, still playing aggressively, still trying to step up and get space. You can do that for now, but the moment Gravitum runs up for Soul, stop. That's going to be Rhino dead if he tries to step up into Gravitum for Soul and Secret on this Braum. Now, one thing I do sort of want to touch on a little bit has been how the early game goes for these teams, specifically the junglers here between Hachamicha and Blank, because it does feel like they do dictate quite a lot of how this game goes here. And if we look at their previous stats here, we had a graphic about how they've been performing really up to this matchup. Blank kind of wins in every category. So it's been surprising that Hachimecha stepped up. And as we're speaking of Hachimecha, he's looking to step up again.
Indeed, Dredgeline getting dropped, same with the Chompers as well. Here, gonna have to force to use that for level 2 rather than the Zap, and so nothing really gonna come out of that. Nice little attempt, but not quite gonna find anything. Blank is here as well, but I don't know. Maybe they actually look for something here. Maybe they look to try and find Hachimecha in this jungle. They probably have an idea that he's there. Rhina is gonna go ahead and show himself. Not quite gonna find anything. Just gonna opt to back off instead. Drop the ward down.
Just, you know, wanting to make sure that Hachimecha doesn't feel too comfy in this bot lane. Now, if we can get the graphic back up here, Blank, like we said, you know, up in every single category, more kills, less deaths. The only category he kind of loses out to Hachimecha in is that assist category, but everywhere else he's out farming, he's out participating here, and that wasn't true in game 2 when we saw the Rascal Jesters win. Hachimecha just out jungled Blank, and it's a tough ask, but we're looking at him to have to do it again on this Poppy here, because if not, I want to see Blank go down to this bot side. Sure, gank Kanatsu once or twice if you want to, but after that, leave that lane alone. Kanatsu knows how to snowball that lane. Dasher, he's going to be fine in the mid lane. Go down and punish Soul. Soul is vulnerable, especially immobile into something like a Vi.
Yeah, and if you can get him behind now, especially while you don't even have the cease and desist available, right? You don't have that point and click CC on the table. That's even bigger, because then you know for certain that once you hit that 15-minute mark, you should be in the clear. It did look like he was maybe looking for something, but it's like an opt to go ahead and grab his shrugs instead, see if that opportunity arises, as at the moment, a lot more quiet this time around in comparison to game 1 and game 2.
Yeah, the one lane that we are seeing a big discrepancy is the top side. And for a change, it's not Kanatsu winning this out. I know doing really, really well with the Croc here, with the Renekton. I guess we're seeing why he kind of pseudo-blinded it. I don't want to say blinded because we saw the Sejuani, but we didn't know where the Sejuani was going at that point here. And that's why I said, Blank, you can afford to gank top once or twice just to get Kanatsu, okay? And then kind of leave it. That said, with the Sejuani, even if you lose the lane, it's fine. You'll still have a lot of utility come these team fights. You'll still get super tanky. And recap, as a Vigar, the biggest thing you fear is tanks. If you can't burst them, if you can't kill them, as a Vigar, you're not happy. It's going to come down to Soul having to chainsaw his way through them with those chakrams, with the crescendum there.
Yeah. Well, for now, first objective is up on the map. It's going to be the Ocean Drag. Already seeing Secret making his way on over, looking to just place down some vision. It is going to get possibly, it's going to get spotted out there, so not going to be able to make any moves here onto this mid lane. But for now, Blank slowly working his way down here. He's already picked up that Sheen, so these duels, if he does find himself in one, are going to hurt quite a bit. And in comparison, Hachimecha already with the fully upgraded boots, Gonna get that cooldown down.
Yeah, we'll have to see if those boots are worth it here, because I feel like if you're gonna rush those early boots, you need to be more omnipresent on the map. You need to be going places. Speaking of going places, Hachimecha back to this bot side here.
Yep, Gravitum getting dropped here. Gonna get that stun down on Ryan to the chopper. It's getting dropped to try and buy himself some time, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Down he goes. First blood into the hands of the one and the only Soul.
Like you said, Echo, it's almost like we know what we're talking about when we talk about things like Gravitum being a kill lane there. That Soul just going to be able to pop people with it. Beautifully played from the side of Rascal Jesters. That early gank, they didn't quite have the gun set up, but this time they do. And they can look to repeat this here. And that's why I was calling for Blank to be a little bit more proactive. So far, hasn't really ganked the top side, hasn't found anything bot side. And you picked up the Sheen as the buy. I understand you want a power level 2-6 to get that assault and battery. But I do feel like you don't need to. As Vi, you can gank as early as level 2 if you want. You do already have a lot of burst damage. The replay plays, but really, what is there to see? It's as simple as just Gravitum lands. We follow up.
Yeah, follow up they do. Grab themselves that kill. Look to back off. Didn't opt to try and start up that drag. Still want to take their time there. Hachimecha, got to be careful here. Between a rock and a hard place, or I guess a woman with gauntlets and a frosty place. I don't really know. Never mind. Just he was in between.
A fisher's a rock, I guess, and Vi's gloves are kind of hard, so there's a rock and a hard place, kind of. Well, Hachimecha gets up.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. A glacier and a fist. Okay, this is quite up the same ring there. But yes, Hachimecha is able to get out for now. Glad to see Blank winning something at least on the map. Still no gank. Still no level 6 though.
Indeed, not quite yet. Looking for something to Blank off to back out for now. Just not really finding those opportunities just yet. But Dasher coming with, looking to pivot on down. Maybe they look for something in this ball lane. Are going to get spotted out by the control ward, though. So I'm curious whether or not they still try and do anything. Not looking too likely. Instead, just going to keep on power farming up for now. Look for some kind of opportunity to present itself. But honestly, I kind of want to get something done. You pick this Vi, you're that level 6. I want to see them kind of utilize it, not really just wait for the opportunity to come to them, but make something happen. We talked about how this Vi is such an important pick, right? The priority of it had to be high. The desk was just going nonstop about it. Now that we're seeing it, I want to see something happen with it.
Yeah, been a little bit underwhelming. And Blank did just hit 6 off that mid lane wave where he was just sitting in the bush. I was kind of hoping he just pulled the trigger and recap immediately as well. Dasher did have hijack available, so you can steal the primordial burst and just look to burst down recap ASAP. But finally, Blank looking to make some action happen in the bot side. Hachimecha already here though, and hey, information inequality here. Hawks know Hachimecha's here. Rascal Jesters don't know Blank is. I think that gives it away. Yeah.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. No. Blank gonna have to recall in shame as he's been found out. Nothing for him to do there. And I feel like this is kind of the problem, because even though we talked about it as a ticking time bomb, right? Especially it's so for Blank, because I feel like the longer this goes, the harder and harder it's going to actually be to get on top of some of these key targets that you want to. Gonna have to hold that thought for a minute though, as the dredge line does go out, but nothing gonna fall out. But if you're trying to get past Secret on the Braum, right? You're trying to get past Ino on the Renekton. You're trying to get past Hachimecha, even though you're unstoppable. Once you reach the target that is Soul, you're probably dead if you're not careful.
True. There is one CC that can stop Vi ultimate, and that's death. It's uncleansable. You can't do anything about it. So, hey, yeah, you can't burst down Blank, and Blank definitely not very tanky right now. Now, we also did glimpse, I know, in that top side, proxying Kanatsu, and that's a bit of a problem for the side of the Hawks. I did not expect Ino to be quite that dominant on this pickup, but it certainly has been popping off here, and that's enabling Rascal Jesters to go for this Herald completely, utterly free. Hawks needs to recognize this, but they don't have any information on it. And so Blank isn't going for the drag. In fact, he's just sitting bot, just farming away. And I'm worried because we saw Rascal Jesters do this last game where they just took every single objective. Granted, there were a lot of smite fights, which Blank lost, but it's even worse if there are no smite fights and Hachimecha is just getting everything for free.
Yeah, you see Blank finally realizing, gotta start doing this, is on that ward. And right now, I do feel like we're seeing kind of the game one Rascal Jesters where they kind of know what's going down, but they don't really respond. They don't really move accordingly. Gonna opt to just give the dragon on over. No real contention coming out. There's a blank just going to be able to dash on over the wall there, grab it for free.
And with that, Echo, I'm a little bit worried for us now because there's been hardly any action this game so far. Both junglers, no. Archimech has been trying to a bit more proactive to get things happening. But as a color, individual picks are just kind of meh to me. I want to see big team fights. I want to see map rotations. And unfortunately, both teams seem content to just sit back now. I wonder if this is partially because of the AD carries we're seeing. Jinx and Phelios both really like those later game team fights. They want their 2-item power spike. And maybe the entire team's just saying, okay, we're fine with this. We're going to scale. We've got scaling across most of our lanes except for the top lane. And Rascal Jester is the one with initiative and agency on the Renekton right now. They are pushing that. If Blank doesn't go up there, Hawks can't do anything. So I'm hoping we get to see skirmishes, but until the next objective comes up, Echo, I don't know about that one.
It's going to be a hot minute. Blank here once again.
Oh, Secret's got some sort of map hack going, man. Every single time he just knows.
Oh my god, there's no way. Twice in a row now, Blank being found out. Nothing you can do there. I know getting spotted out here by that control ward. Not going to be able to make anything happen in this mid lane here. I got to say, though, I'm really liking the way that Ino's looking right now. It kind of felt like he picks Renekton. He's going like, surely they won't camp me twice, right? They won't camp me 2 games in a row, right, guys? Come on. No, surely.
I mean, they did do 2 games in a row. They were looking for I was looking for
I guess at a third.
Herald being dropped into this bot side here, just using it to get the plate gold before it goes down. I actually thought Rhino was going to be able to lock down maybe Soul or Secret on that one, but Shelly ends up tanking it for them here. And interestingly enough, Hawks now they're starting to call down the reinforcements from Dasher and Blank, but still a bit hesitant. You know, they're not sure if they want to go for this. I would have liked to see it. I've been calling for action here for a while, Echo, from the side of the Hawks specifically because of that buy, and they still haven't done it. Maybe they're just waiting for Kanatsu to come online, because Kanatsu, the 20 CS difference we're seeing there has been the same for the last 5 minutes. Ino's not really been able to grow the lead too much, and we already said, hey, Sejuani does skill up, so maybe they're just waiting for precisely that skilling to come through.
Yeah, and if it wasn't already hard enough to get on top of Soul, now that he's got himself the Gale Force, it's going to be even harder. The repositioning that's going to allow him to have, it's just going to keep him safer than he was before. But overall, it's pretty chill at the moment. Honestly, pretty nice, pretty tranquil right now. I'm honestly chilling for once. I don't know what's going on with me right now. Just so much action from that first 2 games. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this.
I feel like this is kind of what we expected initially from Rascal Jesters versus Hawks. Like, I remember like pre-game 1, we're all like, yeah, you know, both these teams, they like to scale. It's going to be quiet. And then game 1 and game 2 have subverted our expectations so much that we're a little bit too bloodthirsty now. This is actually what we should be expecting.
Yeah. Nice hijack though from the glitch, but it's going to be blocked by Secret. So not quite going to be able to get on Soul as Dasher was hoping, but just that amount of damage coming out is dangerous. That does show that Dasher is not to be trifled with.
Yeah, and that's why they had to call down Recap and Hachamecha for a second here to make sure that Soul doesn't get popped on here. Thankfully for Soul, if you survive and you've got Severum running there, you can just heal right back up off of those minion waves. So Soul's not too worried. He still had Flash, still had heal. And I guess that kind of brings us to one of the potential later game win conditions for the side of the Hawks. If things do go south for them in team fights, they still do have the split push threat. We touched on the Vigar-Silas matchup in the 1v1, but realistically, Silas should have a winning matchup into pretty much anyone on the side of Rascal Jesters post 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, to have this next drag up in 1 minute, 50 seconds to be exact. So now we finally might just get to see that skirmish that you were talking about here.
I hope so.
I want Blank. I want Blank to get something done. I'm just waiting for Blank to pull that trigger, but we're going to have to wait a little bit. We're going to have to be a little more patient, just a little bit longer. We're going to have to wait 35 more seconds on the clock before this drag goes down. We know how much Rascal Jesters like to stack those objectives, so I'd be very hard-pressed to believe that they're not going to try and fight for that. I know, meanwhile, already look, he didn't even care about the dirt. He's just looking at just proxy these waves, just keep it going, and then make his way on down with 17 seconds left on the clock here. And Hawks are looking to slowly but surely set up some kind of pick here, perhaps. Definitely did land on the Secret, but not really going to find much out of it at the end of the day. And with drag up in 4 seconds, It's gonna be very interesting here. Kinatsu has opted to keep on pushing top lane. Does have that TP. I know, just kind of chilling. It was he's just waiting for that next wave to come through. Just make sure that these waves can push completely uncontested. And with that drag up now, both teams are still a little bit hesitant to move into that river. Soul needs to be careful. Gonna have to force that tank out after Hachimecha. Down he goes, trying to protect Soul. And that's gonna be Hachimecha off the board. That smite down. And that's the all clear button for it feels like for the Hawks to start this drag up. Not too much Rascal Jester can do. They are gonna back off. They don't want to funnel into that choke point, especially with Kinatsu being there. And so they are gonna have to give the second drag on over.
I've got very mixed feelings right now, Echo. It was a good series of plays from the side of the Hawks here. They've been doing this the entire time, by the way, just poking down on Soul and Secret and Hachimecha. Really good of them to actually get that catch onto Soul. And Soul's running red-white as well. But that's the strength of the Jinx that we're talking about. And so the moment they kind of get a pick on anybody, much less Hachimecha, who is the smite carrier, they secure it themselves, Dragon. Really well played from Hawks. But it does mean, unfortunately, Echo, that we don't get the blood we wanted to see.
Yeah, I'm like, what's up? What's going on? Where's it at? We're 16 minutes, 17 minutes in already. Hawks are down at the moment, gold-wise still. A tiny smidgen amount. So at least they won't have to worry about jeopardizing their 100% win rate. Or I guess now it's like 90% or something like that. Whatever percentage it is, they don't have to jeopardize that. But the Rift Herald is in jeopardy at the moment as the Rascal Jesters have opted to grab themselves that, and it's not looking like anyone's really going to be able to stop them. Dasher getting eyes on, seeing what's going down. Ryan is here as well, but a little bit late to the party, and so Rift Herald just going to go into the hands. Hachimecha going to back off. Let's just keep pushing these waves.
Yeah, and one thing we have to keep in mind too is sort of the value or utility of the Herald here. It's a great early game tool. It's there to help you push the pace of the game and take turrets, break it open, push things here. But with the way both teams are playing, I don't think it matters. Black finally goes in here and just nothing
runs away.
Yeah, blank in name, blank in game. Okay, that's not fair to Black. Like I said, man, you've got to buy. Where's the aggression here? Divine Sunder picked up as well. You've got your Mythic. You actually can win some of these duels against Hachimecha, who is a tank who won't be able to handle the Divine Sunder % health, as well as the healing and sustain that can come through. And I want to make this very clear. I am upset that Blank hasn't ganked yet. It does not mean that Blank is going to fall off. You pick the Vi not necessarily for the early game ganking, but for your ability to hunt down these squishy targets in the backline to ignore everything going in. So Blank will always have that utility and the threat onto this Vigar and Aphelios. It's just that we haven't seen it yet, and that, to me, is the problem.
Yeah. I also feel like it's just going to get harder and harder, though, to actually get on top of them unless you're sort of singling them out, right? Finding them in a less than opportune position, because Secret, right, he's building up, getting tanky. Same with Hachimecha as well. They are becoming just some big boys on the Rift, and getting past them is going to be tricky here, though. Blank might have found an angle here, perhaps. Let's look right now. Whew! Goes gold, stays alive, right? Blank thinking he's got some backup, goes in. TP's coming out. They are going to be able to at least get that TP burnt there from Recap. Other than that, not going to find too much. Close call, though, for Rhino.
Very, very, very much so. Rhino, beautiful stopwatch to save his skin there. Now, do we see a first build zone? Yes, it's looking like it. There already is the Fiendish Codex picked up by Rhino here, and probably actually gives you better utility, especially when you're playing to a Vigar. And speaking of the Vigar Echo, big question marks around that TP from Recap. Generally, we see sort of defensive TPs come through when they are late TPs. Rascal Justice was fine. They were never at risk of dying on that play, so big question marks on why Recap felt he had to do that.
Yep, top lane, they'll finally get to see some blood in the water here. Not quite going to be the 1v1 we were hoping for, but regardless, a kill is a kill. Rhino, excuse me, who's that? I know. Rascal Jesters, I know. It's going to go down, eats the dirt. Couldn't quite handle the 2-on-1 there, the Blank Dasher combo.
The Freudian slip. You know, rhinos are endangered animals because people used to hunt them for their horns.
True.
I know it's an endangered animal, this game, this series. He's just been
this whole series, dude. Yeah, I was about to say, like, not just this guy. Have you been here for game 1 and 2, man? He was a lot more endangered in those two than this one.
Yeah, and I guess I know it's like, hey, you know what? I've not been ganked all game long. I'm fine now, right? No surprise. Black will always find a way to bully out Ino. I don't know what Ino did to Blank this week, but
dude, he must have tweeted something. He must have tweeted something because they do not like him. They have it out for him today. Ino cannot do anything in this game without Blank appearing on his lane and just taking him out. But regardless, at the very least, it's only one death this time around in comparison to this time around last game when it was like 0-4 and 0-5. So he's definitely hopefully feeling a little bit better, but definitely has to make something happen here. Next drag up in 30 seconds. If Hawks get this, they'll be on Soul Point. Rascal Jesters need to make a move, and that's the first move to make, dodging that Glacial Prison, getting dropped down from Kinatsu. That's a huge timer now that's going to be up. Not going to have that for this Dragon fight, but Hawks already positioning themselves in a way to have control here of this lane. We are going to see the Herald getting dropped, though. Going to give them kind of a choice. Do you relinquish control of the river to stop the Herald? And the answer is going to be yes. Looking to try and find something here. Ryan again lower and lower, trying to find the kill. Can they get it? Yes, they do. The Primordial Burst secures it. TP coming out from Dasher, though, as well. He's here for the fight. He hijacks the Glacial Fissure. See if he can use that later. Herald is going to crash. Do a bit of damage to that turret. Ultimately, not too much. Looking for that angle. Glacial Fissure gets dropped. Huge 4-man knock up there. The Baby H gets dropped, though, to buy themselves some time to make sure that they can back off. Dasher can do nothing but watch. The rest of his team isn't there just yet. Needs to look for that upstun and abduct, but not quite going to find it. Dragon gets started up. Rascal Jesters, health bars looking pretty damn low. They need to be very, very, very careful if they don't want to go down there. Keeper's Verdict, though. Bye-bye. Eats away Blanket, so that's going to be Smite gone. But it doesn't matter because they're looking for the fight. Kinatsu getting lower and lower. Not quite going to get dropped. Secret running for his life. Just barely not dying. Soul's next. Season assist. You're getting the letter in the mail because down he goes. Blank looking for the next target. Super Mega Death Rocket. And just like that, Rascal Jester get wiped off the face of the earth. Recap. The only man standing. One by one by one, they're taken off the board. And next up is Drag, Softbank Hawks Gaming. Take everything under the sun.
It took 20 plus minutes, Echo, but finally we get to see ourselves a team fight here. And what an odd team fight to have happen. Rascal Jesters, they get the advantage by picking Reina off early here. Reina, unfortunately, hasn't quite completed the Zonia, so wasn't able to survive in this situation. And from here, it should be Rascal Jesters' favored. But I don't know what it says about the draft and the state of the game that Dasher was able to poke out Rascal Jesters. I'll repeat, a Silas poked out the enemy team here. He gets them all so low. And for Rascal Jesters, yeah, sure, you got the pick, but they actually can't stick around. The risk of Marble getting excited is so high. And throughout this, again, look at Dasher. He's still just poking here. Rascal Jesters, they recognize that, hey, we're not in good position. We've got to get more kills if we want to take this, but they don't find Kinatsu. And then Marble here finally gets excited. And once he does, okay, he got zoned out for a while, but the fight's over. Rascal Jester simply cannot fight when a Jinx is excited here. And the range difference we were talking in. Marble just not at threat of dying whatsoever. Recap is the only one who can even try, but Recap's range is so low that it's his life to try and do it. And if he doesn't succeed, then Hawks just get to roll with that fight.
Yeah, it feels a bit of an odd play as well to start that drag up with those very low health bars. And we finally got to see that cease and desist come into play, right? Waited perfectly for most of those health bars to be low, for a lot of those tanks to be taken care of already. Just weaves right through. Everybody gets on top of Soul, and they get on top of Soul once again with the Glacial Prison. Down he goes. They find Secret as well. His Secret is not safe. And Hachamecha, next one to eat the dirt. Down he goes. And Rascal Jester taken out once again. Baron gonna get started up, and this is not looking good for the Jesters.
Well, they took out the heart and soul, or the Hachamecha and soul of Rascal Jesters here, and that's just going to free everything up. Right? We keep harping on the importance of junglers in Smite. Anytime a jungler goes down, objective's gone. So Hawks get this one completely for free. And if we look at the state of the map right now, Rascal Jesters still have a lot of turrets. Hawks have only taken down the outers on the side. So there's a lot of standing gold for the Hawks to capitalize on. Mid still standing, and hey, you should easily be able to get 2, maybe even 3 or more turrets with this particular burn buff. Kinatsu right here. Yeah, he struggled in lane some, but that's what we're saying with the Sejuani. You have so much utility later, and we're getting to see that from Kinatsu. The question is, where's Ino, right? Ino, you won the lane. Great, so what? You're not able to do much else.
Yeah, speaking of Ino, we see it once again in the bot lane, the 1v2. He's used to this. Make that a 1v3. He's slicing, dicing, dashing, hopping, doing everything he can, but it's not going to be enough. Down he goes into the hands of Kinatsu, and they're looking to just keep it on moving into this mid lane here. They need to start sieging things up. It's like you mentioned, RMC, there's still a lot of turrets standing here for wrestlers, for the fact that there is a 5k goalie, that there is a 3 drag difference, that there is an 8 kill difference, and this is very reminiscent of game 1, it feels like.
You know what? There's still hope. Hachamecha is still outsmited black on the blue buff. Maybe he can outsmite something else. Oh, but Hajimecha might be able to outsmite. He cannot outfight.
Yeah, oh my god, they're just full sending down to the turret. A lot of damage coming through, but Secret with the shield is doing God's work right now. The keeper's really not quite going to find anyone. Down goes Rhino once again. Dash from the backline, though. Looking to find Secret. The Glacial Fissure, huge damage. Killing Soul. He's looking to find Hachimecha next. Won't quite get it, though. It gets secured by Secret. Going gold here for recap to stay alive. The TP coming out from Ino. Like you said, there really is still hope. You can't outfight, but you might be able to outlive, and Rascal Jester do just that and grab themselves 2 more kills.
Fair and I know.
I know. Come on, don't do this to me, man. I just had a sick call. Thank you. Okay. Had me a little worried.
Yeah, and Flash was still up for Marble. I was wondering, does Marble flash in for this? I mean, there's nobody here for Rascal Jesters to threaten. Yeah, so kind of a messy fight, and Hawks opt to play this hyper aggressively here with how they just walk through turrets to make this happen here. And Blank, he goes in, but watch where Marble is. Marble's actually kind of too far to follow up, unfortunately, here. And more importantly, Marble just never gets the resets. They send Dasher in to really try and get this going, but once again, the Event Horizon zone out on Marble means that Marble just can't get excited, can't go in, can't clean up. Despite all of this happening, though, Echo, Hawks are fine. They already took down the outer mid. They get the inner mid as well, and now they're going to get Secret.
Yep, Secret running for his life, but there's nowhere he can go. Down he goes. Nothing Soul can do but watch.
They're still Baron.
As Hawks is knocking on the front door. 15 seconds left with that Baron buff, and the drag is up in 20 seconds as well. That would be Cloud Soul for Hawks if they grab it, but for now they're looking to grab themselves this inhibitor turret. Down it goes. Maybe they grab themselves a little inhibitor as a snack on the way as well. They grab that and they dip. Thank you very much. Unless it doesn't go down. There's no
Did he get it?
It's no way. It's like you said. Okay, Dash. Gonna slide through a crook of the chains. There we go. Now he's gonna get on out of there. They're gonna pivot on over to drag, and Rascal Jesters knows they have to answer. If they give this drag over, that is gonna be Soul going into the hands of the Hawks. So the question is, do you contest RMC?
No, you can't even get there in time. Look at the dragon.
Jesus.
It's gone.
Oh my god. Where did it quit? Oh my god.
Like, Rascal Jesters can't even walk into this fast enough to stop them from taking it. Thankfully, it's Cloud Soul, so not the most powerful combat. So, speaking of Soul, Soul is going to get out.
Oh my god, that Gale Force is doing work in this game.
Yeah, but you're having to use it defensively, just to get out of things. And so, likely, we'll always just use it as a reposition tool. At this point, if you ever go in to the Hawks, you're dead. I just don't see a situation where Aphelios gets to get out from that here. And now for the Hawks, really good play on them from this Baron here. They got all the way. They cracked a base turret. And keep in mind, when it started, they only had the 2 outer turrets on the side lanes here, but they managed to push all the way in from the mid lane. And for Rascal Jesters, you're dealing with supers pushing in. They'll be pushing in when that Baron spawns here. So Hawks will have priority on that major objective. I'd love to see them right now just go for that 4-1 split push. If they can get that top side inner turret down before Baron spawns as well, they'll have all the control in the world on the top half of the map.
Yeah, well, looks to me like Dasher heard your pleas. He is on his way on up there in this ball lane. Kinatsu splitting a little bit, just saying hi to Ino, just like, remember me? Yeah, remember what I did to you up in top lane? I'm gonna do it again if you're not careful. They are looking to pivot up, grab themselves this top tier 2, just really just collapse on top of Rascal Jesters even more, making it even harder for them to leave their base, as this game is looking more and more like game 1. It's looking more and more like Rascal Jesters are just kind of bowing out as gracefully as possible, that they don't have an opportunity to get back into this thing, and that they're just holding the line for as long as possible.
Well, like, if we think back to game 1, Rascal Jesters were losing gracefully up to the moment when they decided to just GG go next. Yeah. So the big question is, does Rascal Jesters do the same thing?
Do they GG go next again?
Yeah, because they have skilling, not really on their side, because they have skilling. So they have skilling, but it's hard to say it's on their side. Vigard complicates calculations for skilling because he has infinite skilling, but at the same time, again, it's the issue of range. Do they have an answer to Marble? And so far, the answer is no. Thankfully for them, this is not in a Hex Tech Soul map. If it was, there's no hope in hell they come back. Oh, did Soul just out? Kinatsu just got out. Not Kinatsu in front of me. Yeah, it's Kinatsu. I don't know why I thought Kinatsu was a jungle for a second. I was like, wait, did Sejani just get outsmited again? I'm getting flashbacks to game 2. But yeah, Soul managed just to take
huge damage though. Glacial Fissure onto Rhino, looking to find something there, but can't quite collapse. Kinatsu is going to be there. It was a good attempt though. We did get quite a bit of damage coming out though from recap. If he can find, it's like you talked about, if he can find that range, get into range to actually do the damage, he can do quite a bit of damage. but he
Mhm.
has to get close to the first.
Yeah, and the problem is, it looks like good damage, but it's on Lina, who is building Zonias. This
Sure.
is not tanky Nautilus. This is, I'll survive burst Nautilus. I'll buy a couple of seconds from my team. You can see how little damage you're doing to Kanatsu in exchange. In fact, Aino just goes down trying to
Wow, he
aggressive
is
Kanatsu.
just gone. Gets absolutely blown up, and so does
Oh!
Soul. Knock up after knock up after knock up, and down he goes into the ground. Next up is gonna be Hachimecho or maybe Recap. Take your pick. It's gonna be Recap. Down he goes. It's gonna be Secret next. Down he goes as well, and it's looking
That's
at me like the Nexus is about to go down to RMC Softbank Hawks game, and they weren't looking too good in game 2, but they brought it back in game 3. Down goes the first turret. Here goes the second one. Marble wants more kills, but he's not going to find them at the very least, so they'll find themselves game number 3.
Echo the prophetic play-by-play. You're just calling it similar to game 1, and they indeed pulled the trigger on the GG Codex. And Aino just kind of ran it down a little bit there towards the end. You're not that tanky. You went for Blade of the Ruin King and Black Cleaver. You're